Hello everyone and welcome to this video in which I rank all the different teams by their salaries divided by their wins. A little bit of back history. I wanted to make this into a really polished, really clean, really awesome video, but between MSI and all the stuff that happened for me when I got back, I just haven't had a time to really go in and make it really nice. So now we're doing it on stream. I'm not going to be telling the chat, don't worry. And we're going to just go through this. It's going to be quick and dirty because we've got a notepad. I apologize. Anyway, a little bit of context on what this video is. So, a while ago, after spring split, I received a document basically saying, here's how much the teams pay total in salary. So I don't have individual player salaries. And by the way, I don't have bonuses or any of the extra stuff that you might be able to get. I just got literally a document that has teams and their total salary. And now I'm going to do something with that. Also, by the way, I've got on the document also lists total academy payroll. So it's total LCS payroll, total academy payroll. I get this type of stuff frequently, but I don't tend to do anything with it because it's not really my type of thing. I'm not really as interested in doing that type of stuff as others. And I've just never been interested in that type of conversation. In that type of content. I'm always more interested in the conversation. But here's why I've decided to do something here. During the off season, during the breaks, I often see people on Reddit discuss, and even during the LCS season, I also oftentimes see people on Reddit or Twitter or calling into Hotline League discuss like, well, why doesn't this team just do this? Or why didn't they just pick up this player? Or why, like, this team sucks, their roster sucks. They could have just gotten this. I think unlike in traditional sports where salaries and a lot of that stuff are pretty public and you have an understanding of salary cap, we don't really have too much conversation about any of that in the league scene. And so people don't really understand, like, hey, this team is spending maybe half as much as another team, but they are performing almost as well. That is actually a really impressive thing in and of itself. And I don't expect fans to necessarily care about the numbers or anything like that. I get that ultimately you just want your team to win, and that's how it goes. But I just want to further the discussion. I'd really like to see additional conversation around, how much is this team spending versus this team, besides like the constant paid by Steve memes and the buy out all the best talent stuff and all that. So by the way, I do think that this information is probably pretty easy to get. So if an ESPN or somebody like that wants to put it out, I'm sure they could. I have decided not to just post the total salaries numbers for each of the teams for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's kind of weird for me to just decide to do that because I don't know what effects that could have on the broader ecosystem and league. And I don't want to be responsible for dropping that kind of nuclear bomb on the scene when I don't really know what the kind of cause or effects that could occur. I'd rather just sort of start small. We'll start here. Maybe in the future, teams will start releasing salary numbers or other outlets will. I don't know. But the methodology here that I'm going to be employing is I'm taking the LCS payroll, so the total amount of money that a team spends on their LCS roster, and then I am dividing it by the number of wins that they got. I think this is an interesting equation because it kind of shows the efficiency or value of a team. You can sort of get a feeling of, okay, well, this team spent a ton of money and they got top 3, but maybe that wasn't as efficient or they didn't spend their money as well to get wins as another team. So I rank the teams by their total salary divided by their wins to get like a number that is essentially how much money did they spend per win and rank them accordingly. So that's what we're going to do. I apologize if you really want the total salary number. Maybe in the future I'll do that. This is a first foray into this, and maybe in the future you'll see something more. Either way, let's dive into it. So it should come as no surprise to everyone that the team that spent a lot of money to not get very many wins and has a lot of stars on it is ranked number 10. So one of the things that I thought about while creating this is that I think every team and every fan should have a pretty good story for why their team is in the place that they're at. in this situation, and critics, by the way, can also say this. Critics can look at this 100T number and say, wow, 100T spent a ton of money and they got last place, which they did spend a lot of money and they got last place. And that shows that org sucks or something. On the other hand, I feel like the fact that 100T is near the top in terms of total LCS payroll really hones in their commitment to the league. So 100T fans can say, hey, we tried really hard to get, high ranked. This org really cares about the LCS. They're not just phoning in and spending very little. But yeah, no surprise that 100T ends up in the 10th place. In the 9th place, and this is, by the way, there's a significant change in cost per win between 10th and 9th, because obviously, let's see, 100T went 4 and 14. That makes the equation not very favorable for them. They had a 22% win rate. We'll see if they do better this split. Next up, we've got Clutch Gaming. So they barely were ahead of 100T in terms of wins. They were 5 and 13 with a 28% win rate. But their payroll was significantly lower, so their cost per win is different, but it's still not enough to change them. So, by the way, we already have like 10th place in the LCS was 10th on this list. 9th on this list. We will see how things go, but yeah, it's interesting. So the next thing that is very funny is so guess who's number 8th on this list, or number 8 on this list? Late 8th? 8 on this list. So Team Liquid is number 8 in terms of cost per win, which is interesting because they were 14 and 4 at the end of the split, and you could really tell then. This is where like this list gets wonky. In fact, I'm gonna check at Team Liquid, or look at Twitch chat. Twitch chat going crazy. So, despite getting first place and also having really great season standings. By the way, I'm using the regular split numbers. You end up with these guys at number 8. So again, TL fans can say, wow, Steve really committed with his roster. And how great is it? And it shows like how much he's willing to pay the players and all that stuff. But you get first place, and the that still places you 8th on this list in terms of payroll. And I don't mind saying that. Look, I'm just gonna say this because I feel like people will know it. TL pays more than anybody else in terms of LCS payroll. And again, a reminder, because I'm sure that some owners or somebody might come out. This does not include bonuses. This does not include like extra stuff. We're just going off of salary, and that might, if you included all the extra income, that might change some people around different slots, but I still feel like this is a good rough estimate. All right, so who is number 7? CLG. So CLG is number 7. They also placed 7th in the split. So we're at 7 and 11 for those guys, 39%. I don't know what it says that CLG ends up 7th in the split and also 7th on this list. It's like, but there you have it. Wish there was more to say. Okay, number 6, Optic. Optic tied CLG for 7th place, but they came out ahead. That is because they are near the bottom in terms of total LCS payroll. But they also didn't do fantastic. So again, with a 7-11 standing, they got 39, or they had a 39% win rate, and that ended up with them in the 6th spot. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, that's just sort of what ended up happening. Number 5 on this list, right? Am I reading this right? My own document. Did I do it wrong? Yes. Okay, we're good. Number 5 on this list. I wish I could see what I should have put Twitch chat on the screen because then they could all start predicting where people are going to end up. Number 5 on this list is FlyQuest. So FlyQuest they have a kind of, I don't know, I guess you could maybe say middle of the road salary, a total LCS payroll, but they got 4th. So I think maybe that's a win for them. You know, you placed 5th in terms of total salary rankings, but you got 4th at the end of the split. And but again, when I say regular split, you got 4th. So you are pretty efficient. I need to hide Twitch chat. I'm getting interesting. I'm getting distracted. So but they had a 10-9 ranking and a 53% win rate. So you I guess maybe were very efficient if you were able to pay middle of the pack but perform slightly above that. Number 3. Wait. Yes. Number 4. Number 4. What does Twitch chat think it's going to be? Budget team TSM. Okay, interesting stuff. Sorry. Twitch chat's so fun watching this. Everyone's predicting TSM or C9. GGS. GGS. So GGS, where did they come in? They were 5th at the end of the season. Or at the end of like the split. And they had a 47% win rate. They were 9-10. So they, I don't know. Their salary, by the way, is, again, I kind of feel like middle of the pack, depending on how you rank them, because some of the top teams have very high LCS payrolls. In some situations, it was almost by a factor of 3, looking at the bottom team towards the top in terms of the difference in LCS payroll. I would say GGS, if you ranked all the teams by LCS payroll, probably ends up somewhere in the middle. So anyway, they ended up 4th on this list. So what's very fun is we now have 3 teams left. And those teams are Echo Fox, TSM, and C9. So how do you guys think that this will go? How do you think that this will go? All right. In the number 3 position, in terms of efficiency, we have Echo Fox. Echo Fox comes in at number 3 in terms of efficiency. Pretty good for them, I would say. They were 8-10 with a 44% win rate, but they are near the bottom in terms of LCS payroll spend. Makes sense. You know, it's not a team that has like crazy superstars. You don't see a Bjergsen, you don't see a Doublelift, you don't, I don't know, see a Sneaky on that team. So, yeah, I mean, they are picking up wins pretty cheaply. And now we have the last 2 teams. Of course, whenever I say one, it will fill in the other. So I'll just fill them in. Let's talk about TSM first. So actually, we'll talk about both of them because I think they share a lot of the same qualities. TSM and C9 both benefit in certain situations, I believe, from probably having longer standing contracts. So a lot of, like, Bjergsen was signed to, I think, a 3-year contract a while ago. Salaries have gone up a lot, and so you got to assume that it is to the org's benefit that they signed players a while ago when salaries were lower for longer term contracts. That's probably kept their total contract costs down. And so that has allowed C9 TSM, two of the longest standing orgs with rosters that have not changed. Well, they've changed a decent amount, but the other thing is they benefit a ton from the branding and the legacy, right? TSM, you join TSM, you're going to get a lot of money from other sources. Your stream numbers go up. I remember, like there are players that nobody really knew about, and then they join TSM, they start streaming, they get a ton of viewers. That's going to make them good money, assuming they're streaming. And there's just like a lot of benefits. It's like a good brand value. And also, by the way, if you're a pro player and you care a lot about winning, C9 and TSM, what? C9 and TSM are two places that it's really smart to go to. If you're joining Optic, who has never won anything and hasn't looked very good before, you might be asking for a lot more money than if you're joining C9 and TSM. So it gives C9 and TSM both have really great leverage situation. At one point in time, I called on Hotline League. I referred to C9 as a budget roster. Maybe that's like an extreme version of it, but like people need to understand they pulled 2 players from Academy last split, right? 2, yeah. Anyway, and I think that has helped a lot too, right? Like C9 has not had to spend as much as Team Liquid, for instance, because C9 can organically build talent through their own system, right? Like they grab Licorice, they grab Zazel, these players end up being amazing. So that has been able to keep their costs down. I don't know the nature of Sneaky's contract or anything like that, but I do believe he probably signed it a while ago. So that's probably kept their costs down. I don't know. A lot of this is speculation, by the way. I just want to throw it out there. But it's interesting. None of this makes is too surprising to me. Other than Team Liquid being so low. Holy crap, isn't that funny? But yeah, I mean, a lot of this lines up with kind of what I think. Props to Echo Fox, by the way, for having such an efficient roster. I think they really stand out as a winner in this. Yeah. Also worth noting, because I do want to mention this. C9 does have the highest Academy payroll. So, like this, I put this out there because I want it to spark conversation, but it is important to think about other factors. As people think about this and talk about this, I want other people, 3 including Blabber, thank you. I want other people to be considering what the other factors are. There are bonuses, there are like there's extra brand stuff that you can get from joining a team. And in C9's case, they might be up near the top of here, but if this was a list where you included total salary, including Academy payroll, I don't know, that might change them. That might put TSM on the top. I'm not sure because yes. Yes, they are. Sorry, I got confused for a second. C9 is near the top or at the top of Academy payroll. So that's an interesting thing, right? They are more willing to invest into Academy in a different way than some of the other teams, and that I think has allowed them to keep their LCS payroll down. So anyway, that is this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Shout out to Alienware for sponsoring my stuff. Again, I hope this sparks conversation, and I'm very curious to see what occurs here because, one, I don't know if teams are going to get really pissed that I did this. Hopefully, I don't have too many awkward conversations the first week of LCS. I don't think they should be, quite frankly, because I feel like a lot of this is probably going to come out anyway. I'm surprised that, again, because if I have the LCS payroll information, I'm surprised that like an ESPN doesn't, and if they do have it, why they haven't published it or why other sites haven't published it. And I think that, quite frankly, there's wins and losses that every team or their fans can tell. Again, like people might say like, well, C9 is not spending nearly as much as Team Liquid given those numbers. Okay, but like both teams can say great things about that. C9 can talk about how they're committed to building talent from the pool. Team Liquid can talk about how willing they are to spend to get the results for their fans. Everybody has a win here. Please no one blacklist me.